So the 3 steps to tuning your horse into you. 1, get their attention. How? If they can't feel you, can they hear you? That's fine. We have fly masks. Come here. Come on. Thank you. Good. Get their attention. Nothing happens if you don't have that. Good girl, babe. I know. So basically, step into a leadership position by becoming assertive. Be clear. That's leadership for me. That's my definition. Be clear. Be congruent. And don't be afraid. Don't be passive. Be assertive. Ask your horse. If your horse, you got to work together. Too bad. This is what we do. This is our life together. And I promise you there'll be lots of love and you'll be taken amazingly well. I'll take great care of you. That's a promise I give to you. But we have to work together. So don't be afraid to be assertive. That's how you earn respect and trust with your horse. And that is instinctual for them because they're social species or social species by nature. So don't be afraid to get their attention. And there's different ways. I always start out with energy, my mind and my heart, like you saw. If this isn't enough, and she's preoccupied with grass, if we were in a dry area, then I'm going to take it up a notch. If this wasn't enough, I would use more action or I would be louder. More action or louder. This could be more action. Could be louder. I could pick up my lunge whip and just pick it up, tap the ground, whatever. You can add, but I don't want to always be that loud. And that's the key to being safe or having safety with horses. When they're this tuned into you on the most subtle level as a prey animal, then you have 100% of them, meaning they're not looking around and they feel safe. It's amazing, you guys. So first, get your horse's attention. We're going to speak with our hearts. Talk to them without speaking out loud. Tell them, I love you. Come here. I want you. And say it so it means something and it resonates. And sometimes I'll say that out loud. I want you. If I were to say, I want you, Lovey, Lovey, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come. 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 She doesn't really know what the word come here. We do know through research that horses can learn up to, I think, 50 some words. And I always say these types of words around my horses, so they do know that that means what it means. But it's how it resonates. You heard me. Come here. I didn't say, come here. Hey, you. Ugh. I mean, it feels horrible. And it's tight and restricting. And again, when I do that, I get this head rush of adrenaline. No, come here. Come. I love you. Thank you. So if I'm yelling at the baby to get off my old horse, I'll say, out, out, out. Means something totally different. And it has a different energetic frequency. It resonates, tonal quality. So speaking with your heart is the strongest connection, and that's the relationship. That is number one. And the third is learning specific techniques that help you synchronize in movement. And walking, unless it's a real good energetic walk, that's not always the best gait to develop this level of synchronized movement. Rhythm with your horse, that also gets you into this connective movement. Sometimes it has to be a big working walk at least. It can't be a slow walk where they become distracted or bored and start smelling things or eating things. You need more energy at the walk, at least a brisk, energetic walk to keep them engaged and keep them focused on you. And that also brings more energy up in your body that they can connect with. They can feel that frequency. So movement, by nature, rhythm is meditative. Rhythm, look at the definition, by nature is meditative. So when you can get synchronized in movement in the same tempo, whether you embody it, which is what I teach for on the ground, and then riding, or just riding that movement, then you become one right there. There's a deep level of connection that feels good, and you are releasing endorphins again. So again, everything comes back to how do we make this feel amazing for the horse on all the levels, their hierarchy of needs that they need. So for Lovey, she's still with me. She's right here and she's grazing, and I'm fine with that. She's a master horse, but she's not at the level of Sundance, Legend, or Smokey, where they wouldn't probably be eating at all. Or I would ask them once and they would be so content to just stand here with me in this space. She's still a little, she gets triggered easily, like you saw. She trotted up to me earlier and then whoop, you know, she just had to go. And that's working with Lovey's nature. But Lovey is also a very high-strung horse, believe it or not. She's thoroughbred. She was supposed to race, but has too much action, too much cadence in her movement. And the stupid trainers, as if they couldn't have seen that when she was a baby, she floats like an Arab, you guys. There's no way she would have ever made a racehorse. But they, she spent a year training, and they broke her. They broke her good. So I got her. She was an emotional mess. Anorexic, ulcers, diarrhea, dermatitis. She had to be quarantined for a month. I mean, she was going to be put down at the age of 2. Isn't that sad? Man, they did everything they could to make her run fast because obviously her parents were winning. It's horrible. This horse has way too much Arab in her. It just blows my mind. They're supposed to know horses, or at least the thoroughbreds. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail with these techniques. I'm talking a lot more about approach right now because all of this is taught in my Spirituality of Horsemanship membership. You can get that monthly, and it's also on my Mastery membership. But there is a specific breath work that I've been doing since I was a teenager and suffered acute panic attacks. So anxiety. There is a specific breathing, meditative breathing, re-regulates the nervous system and produces endorphin. It's that simple, you guys. I love. So it doesn't really matter what type of breathing you guys choose to practice as long as it produces endorphins and the endorphin high, as I call it. And what the endorphin high means is that you feel such a state of total relaxation through your body, and you're able to feel very centered and grounded and still. So right there, like I said, you can practice certain yoga breathing, the Taoist reverse breath technique, however it allows you to get in a space within your body and in your mind where you feel total relaxation. And that's where you want to begin. And if you can look, if the camera has my full body shot here, you'll see how I stand. I always stand like this. And instead of standing, once in a while I'll stand like this to kind of stretch out my back a little bit. But most of the time, like 99%, I'm always weight bearing in one heel, one leg. And this is what keeps me grounded and centered. So it's like my whole body relaxes and all the energy goes down into the heel of my foot and connects with the earth, literally. So while I'm talking to you and I can see Lovey in my left eye, I can feel the earth, and I can feel that there's a little concavity underneath my heel that's making me rock back to catch my balance. So there's like a little hole there. So I'm very present. When you're able to develop this, you become very present and in the moment. So it's like I'm very aware of everything that's going on around me, but most of my attention is inside my body. I can feel my body. And this is a state of relaxation and weight bearing and allowing all that energy to connect with the earth and get grounded. And so when we go to ride, this is a technique that I teach on the ground through all my groundwork and lunging, so that when we go to ride, that connection is now in our seat. Our seat becomes the weight bearing and the heaviest part of our body when we sit on the horse, which is so important. You got to feel it though. So many of us walk around with so much tension in our bodies, especially our upper body, and we take that to our riding. So you need to practice this if you want to become a better rider. This is huge. So this is part of becoming self-aware. Now, the thing I'm going to add is, if you've been to a really good deep tissue or Swedish massage or masseuse, I have, and I will occasionally get these huge knots in my back along my shoulders. I think most of us do, especially the way we carry tension. And they will tell you when you're laying down on the table, they're going to push into that spot, that nodule, and they're going to ask you to take 3 big breaths. You're going to breathe in, inhale, hold for like a second, and exhale slowly. So by the time you take 1 deep breath in, hold, and exhale, it should be about 3 seconds. And they're going to tell you to do 3 of those. And you're going to focus on that pain spot or that nodule. And believe it or not, you end up releasing the pain. So we can take that into this stance, this grounded position, and go, oh my gosh, while I'm standing here, do I feel anything? I'm doing a body scan. So I love teaching the body scan, especially when we go to get on, which we're going to do in the next video. Where's my body? Do I have tension in my neck? Oh my gosh, my left shoulder right now hurts a little bit. So I'm going to take some time, take in a really big, deep breath, hold for 1 second, exhale for another second, while I keep focusing on that tension, that pain spot. But you need to take a deep enough breath, and you need to exhale big enough to really expand your body so that you can feel whether the pain is still there or not. So if you're constantly tight in breathing, you're not going to feel the difference. So I'm going to take another deep breath. I'm going to inhale for a second, hold for a second. You can see me really opening up. Exhale for the 3rd second. Ooh, it felt even better. That got more relaxation. So oxygen naturally relaxes muscle. So every time you're breathing in and focusing on that pain point or that tension in your body, you're relieving it by giving oxygen to it, which naturally relaxes those muscles or tendons. So that's the science behind it. It's beautiful. So you know it's going to work. It might take more than 3 times though, and it might take many sessions to keep practicing this. And it can be everywhere. So once you're here, and I do not recommend, by the way, working in an area like this, like a small pasture or paddock that has grass. It's really hard to get your horse's attention. So I always start this work in a round pen. I'm just showing you out in this big space, a round pen or a dry lot or a small paddock or even a stall. I'm just showing you because I can, and I don't mind Lovey leaving me or it being more challenging, so you guys can see how I go about resolving that. But always set yourself up in a small space with no grass or no hay if it's a stall. So that's how we're going to start to learn how to ground our energy into Mother Earth, how to relax our bodies, how to bring more awareness to ourselves. And that's the first thing, is what are you bringing to your horse? And even if our horse disobeys us or isn't consistent and it's a frustrating experience, you can't come back to your horse with that level of frustration. You've got to keep dissipating it, releasing it, replacing the adrenaline with endorphin. That's the key here. So for Love, I'm going to ask her to come over. Good girl. Good girl. And give her a lot of positive reinforcement. Again, I'm grounded. Thank you, sweetheart. And we've got good connection. Thank you, baby. Oh, you want Mama to rub? So see, I love this. They all end up showing you where you want me. What? I'm so important to you. Yes. I can get them spots that you can't. Oh, the little udders, the little teeties, you're dirty. We got to give you a little bath down there. That bothers you. That's what she's trying to tell me, because I know her. To lift her leg and point. You learned that from smokers. I'll get you. We'll clean you up after this, okay? All right, so we have connection. I'm now going to ask my horse to join me and hook on to me in movement. And I'm going to always start out with a long lunge whip. And I teach this again in that course that I keep talking about, the spirituality of horsemanship, because this is an extension of you. And it's a great communication tool and a great tool to help guide, especially when you get into the advanced levels of my lunging and biomechanics. You need to help guide that body. And so right now this becomes what? A hug. A hug. So I'm pulling her in, just like I was doing with the horseman's handshake. It becomes a hug now. Good girl. And a reminder to stay connected to this energy. I know, baby. That's why you keep your fly mask on. So for me, we're going to keep the whip on the outside. We don't want anything between us, and okay, to block our energy. And we're going to walk together. So this might be this would be what I would refer to as a partner walk or a companion walk. Good girl. And normally we're back here behind the shoulder because it's easier for the horse's eye to turn and want to connect with us. Sometimes when we're walking with the horse's shoulder, in front of the shoulder, the horse might follow us, but then we can't keep an eye on them, and they often will choose their own direction. And right now, you want your horse to follow you and stay connected to you when you develop this. So you're going to want to, a true partner or companion walk is behind the shoulder, right where you would be riding. And you can keep your hand right here below the wither and right on the scapula muscle. And so she's got to turn her head to find me, to see me. So I'll cluck a little and we're going to go left. So I'm going to look her in the eye with my eye. I know her mind is on me when she looks at me. Now I'm going to look where I want to go. And right now we're just going to kind of take a circle. Come here. Good girl. We're going to keep a circle. We're not going to go straight right now. That's the hardest thing, is going straight. So just keep a circle and put your focus more on the ground and show your horse, like me, where you want to go. And if you lose her, call her back. Good girl. Good. Thank you, sweetheart. Good girl. So what I'd like you to practice when you're doing this circle, and you can do it with a halter and a lead rope too, okay? So if you keep losing your horse, put him back on line. So you can do this meditative movement, rhythmic movement. Now, you're not cheating by putting them back in a halter and lead rope. You're not, you guys. A lot of times these horses can't connect right away with this type of relaxed energy and focus, intense focus and connection. It's too scary. They don't trust you enough. So put them on line where you can hold their hand. And the more you do this, and the more you energetically and rhythmically in tempo get synchronized, it will release endorphins. Okay, and the horse will relax more and more, and they'll feel safer and more comfortable with you. And those are their two highest needs. Always safety, comfort, food, and then they'll play. In that order. So a lot of people want to start out at liberty, free all the time, and it's really hard if you don't have a small space, like a round pen, at least 40 to 50 diameter, or a paddock area. So see how I keep using my right hand to kind of pull her eye back in? Good girl. And then I'm going to focus on where I want to go. Good girl. And so that's how you start to get in rhythm, in tempo with each other, synchronize the movement. Lovey, it took a long time, you guys. They'd done so much damage to hype her up and get her adrenaline going so she would run fast, that to slow her down was, I would lose her all the time. And when I had her on line, I'd had to put her on a 20 or 30 foot long line because she would just run and take off. She couldn't get that quiet or that still. And I gave her a year, almost a year off, 9 or 10 months. She was so skinny and stressed out before I started to work with her this way, because I knew this work was going to be good for her. But it took a long time. It took a long time for it to start to sink in. Trust was a huge issue. She was spent a whole year being pushed into adrenaline and crazy. It just was really hard for her to just relax. So but you can already see how she's not eating right now. Here's the value, the benefit, the results of doing that type of work, just that little bit. And now she's so content just to stand here. So see, I don't have to keep going, stop eating. All right. So that's, I think, plenty to think about and work on when it comes to the depth and level of connection and communication you want with your horse and how to achieve it. We're now going to move to the next video. And this next video is riding basics, and where we are going to start talking about the 10 bullet points I've already outlined in the previous videos on riding basics, the 10 areas that as a rider I see so many of my new students never being taught. To go through each one with the first one, starting with the first basic is your mounting and your permission to get on. So for me, I don't just throw my bridle on my horse and pull them over and get on, or put my foot in a stirrup and get on. For me, she's got to give me permission to get on. And so everything that I teach, all this ground stuff that you're learning in the connection video here, is part of teaching that deep level of joining in mind, body, and soul, so that she wants me. Now she's not even eating, and she wants me on her back, because I've done so much work in her third chakra, her fire chakra, that feels so grounded and easy and safe, not to mention the love, the heart. And I'm doing all the things that I know as a horse she enjoys and seeks out with other horses. Doesn't get much better than that. So we're going to go on over to the picnic table where I'm going to get on. Come with me, love. Yep. So this is our daily. Keep your eye on her, though. Remember, your connection is you paying attention to her too and being observant. So she thought about going to the gate because she looked that way. You stay with me, love. She's very much a work in progress, isn't she? Good girl. She's like, oh. So let's just talk about this. She's going to the bareback pad. That's her pad. So if I were to get on, if I come up here, she's confused. No. Come here. Yep, she's thinking about it. Come here. Thank you. Isn't this cool? It's all energy and connection and focus. Isn't that cool? No whips, no tapping. This is your horse's mind. She knows where I'm looking. She knows what it feels like to have the energy pulled in and how good it feels. Good girl. So I need her over a little bit more. So I'll take her mane. Good girl. Good. Thank you. So this would be absolute permission. I'll turn around to get on. I'm not riding bridleless though, but you guys get what I'm putting out there. That's what I want. I want my horse to want me because I know they're going to take care of me. And that includes when I lose my balance. That includes when a big branch falls and you guys are so connected in your work together and in the relationship in your work together that it's a delayed reaction. And by the time you both hear it, because this happens all the time, by the time you hear it, 3 seconds have gone by and you're like, oh, do we even respond? Or if we do, I have more control over the situation as a rider. Good girl. Look, horses are horses. They are going to be alarmed. That is a fact. But the level of alarm, the level of reaction or response can be almost, how do I want to put this? It can almost be as small as almost nothing, believe it or not. So I love you too. We're so taught to just handle and manage everything the horse puts out there without realizing that we can change that. That when the horse trusts us and feels safe with us, and we've developed their thinking side of their brain, then they are truly safe. Now, my horses will spook at things, but I call it more of a startle. They're just like, oh, what was that? Oh, okay. And I'm also teaching you guys through the connection video how to slow yourself down, become more self-aware and more observant. Because then you can learn how to read your horse better and go, wow, my horse is really preoccupied with something out there. She's not, but let's say she was. She's got an ear on me. They're here, they're up. I'm not going to get on. I'm not even going to have her attention, am I? Can I get her to reconnect with me? She might reconnect, but she might go right back to that. Pay attention to that, because that can escalate. Whatever it is, it's got her focus. Sometimes she's just maybe too preoccupied and needs to come back and be a little more disciplined and obedient and listen to me. You've got to figure that out. Sometimes she's letting you know that there's something that really worries her out there. And so you guys have to learn what to do with that information instead of just putting up with it and handling it and managing it and riding it. I mean, look at me. I ride bareback. You don't need a bit to control your horse, but bareback and without a helmet. Not to show off, but to prove to you guys that you can stay safe. So really, this is I don't even need my dressage whip because we're not going to be riding. This is permission to get on and how I mount. Come here. And it can be from anything. We just happen to have the mounting blocks over there. We just happen to have them from either side. I want to be able to get on and off my horse on both sides, you guys. I know. You're going to get your fly mask back on. Come on, sweetie. Good girl. But I want a thinking horse. Good. So I want her right up to that bench. Oops, sorry. I'm going to make mistakes like my foot kicked her butt. You're going to want to be clumsy too sometimes. Stuff happens. Good girl. And when I pick up those reins, they shouldn't mean a thing because I don't have any mental intention or focus on them. You know, one of the debunkers I'll be doing, one of the most popular trainers in the world, and I like him. I think he's an awesome trainer. But there's just some things I don't agree with. You know, that when you pick up that rein, that horse should know that you're getting ready to do something. Yes and no. There's no intention though. It's just like if I pick up the whip, it doesn't mean anything. If I say out, or you know, out, which they all know means you better get somewhere, they don't go anywhere. So, but when I pick up the rein with intention, action in my mind, I have focus, I have purpose. Intention is purpose. What's my purpose? Right now, you pay attention to me, sister. Good. I'm going to shorten the reins and ask for you to break at the pole and open up your shoulder, to supple vertically. And that's part of my pre-flight, which we're not going to get into. That'll be the next part of this riding basics. The first is just mounting right now and getting permission. And I don't want to get on a horse that's not that connected to me. Pick your battles. Yes, I'm a very skilled trainer, and yes, I might get on a horse. I'll back that up a little. I might get on a horse that is a little preoccupied because I know how to fix it. But for you guys, I don't want you getting on a horse that isn't right now. Her ears are on me, that isn't 100% with you. Okay? Not unless you're more skilled. And even then, I still don't want it. So do what you need to do on the ground. Get their attention. Ask them to come up with a little more assertiveness. Come on, let's go. I need you now, right now. Yep. Stop dilly-dallying. Stop looking around. Stop focusing on other things. You're with me. So much of this is an approach, you guys, and so much of it's energy and the power of intention. It's like, you know how you can talk to your kids and you can just give them that look, or you can give them that tone, and they know? So do horses. They do it to each other all the time. I'm teaching you how to do it. So you can just go, or okay, I love you. Come to me right now. All right. Thank you. May you always be one with your horse, and I look forward to you in the comments.